Hey guys, I'm going back to reading my Bible, but as you can see my setting has changed again because my aunt is in school currently, so I have to be outside if I'm going to read because my aunt's doing her school. So I'm going to take this out of the cover to make it easier to hold the book, to make holding the book easier by like a crap ton. And we finished off at the end of The Wise and the Foolish Builders. Well, no, not the end, but we finished where Jesus was talking. I just wanted to get through Jesus' words, and then because I did want to spend some extra time with my uncle and my aunt afterwards. So yeah. Oh, also, and tomorrow is Sunday, so I'll have to read after church, by the way. So, yeah. Alright, so here we go. So we're still under The Wise and the Foolish Builders, but, now it's, like, back and forth between narrating and, well, not narrating, but it's back and forth between the black text and the red text, I guess I could say. Okay, let's start. And it says, when Jesus had finished saying these things, the crowds were amazed at his teaching, because he taught as one who had authority, and not as their teachers of the law. The man with leprosy. When he came down from the mountainside, a large crowds followed him. A man with leprosy came and knelt before him and said, "Lord, if you are willing, you can make me clean." Jesus reached out his hand and touched the man. "I am willing," he said. "Be clean." Immediately he was cured of his leprosy. Then Jesus said to him, "See that you don't tell anyone, but go show yourself to the priest and offer the gift Moses commanded as a testimony to them." The faith of the centurion? I'm bad with words, guys. Also, I'm tired, just woke up. But yeah, the faith of the centurion. When Jesus had entered Capernaum, a centurion came to him asking for help. "Lord," he said, "my servant lies at home paralyzed and in terrible suffering." Jesus said to him, "I will go and heal him." The centurion replied, "Lord, I do not deserve to have you come under my roof, but just say the word, and my servant will be healed. For I myself am a man under authority, with soldiers under me. I tell this one, 'Go,' and he goes, and that one, 'Come,' and he comes. I say to my servant, 'Do this,' and he does it." When Jesus heard this, he was astonished and said to those following him, "I tell you the truth, I have not found anyone in Israel with such great faith. I say to you that many will come from the east and the west, and will take their places at the feast with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven. But the subjects of the kingdom will be thrown outside into the darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth." Then Jesus said to the centurion, "Go, it will be done, just as you believed it would." And that his servant was healed that very hour. Jesus heals many. When Jesus came into Peter's house, he saw Peter's mother-in-law lying in bed with a fever. He touched her hand, and the fever left her, and she got up and began to wait on him. When evening came, many who were demon-possessed were brought to him, and he drove out the spirits with the word and healed all the sick. This was to fulfill that was spoken through the prophet Isaiah. He took up our infirmities and carried our diseases. Wind, stop blowing the pages of my Bible. Goodness gracious. Okay. The cost of following Jesus. When Jesus saw the crowd around him, he gave orders to cross to the other side of the lake. Then a teacher of the law came to him and said, "Teacher, I will follow you wherever you go." Jesus replied, "Foxes have holes, and birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man has no place to lay his head." Another disciple said to him, "Lord, first let me go and bury my father." But Jesus told him, "Follow me, and let the dead bury their own dead." Jesus calms the storm. Then he got into the boat, and his disciples followed him. Without warning, a furious storm came up on the lake, so that the waves swept over the boat, but Jesus was sleeping. The disciples went and woke him, saying, "Lord, save us. We are going to drown." He replied, "You of little faith, why are you so afraid?" Then he got up and rebuked the winds and the waves. It was completely calm. The men were amazed and asked, "What kind of man is this? Even the winds and the waves obey him." The healing of 2 demon-possessed men. When he arrived at the other side, in the region of Gadarenes, 2 demon-possessed men coming from the tombs met him. They were so violent that no one could pass that way. "What do you want with the Son of God?" they shouted. "Have you come here to torture us before the appointed time?" Some distance from, a large herd of pigs was feeding. The demons begged Jesus, "If you drive us out, send us into the herd of pigs." He said to them, "Go." So they came out. There we go. He said to them, "Go." So there's an ant, and it crawled on my book, and I don't want ants on my book. He said to them, "Go." So they came out and went into the pigs, and the whole herd rushed down the steep bank into the lake and died in the water. Those tending the pigs ran off and went into the town and reported all this, including what had happened to the demon-possessed men. Then the whole town went out to meet Jesus, and when they saw him, they pleaded with him to leave their region. Jesus heals a paralytic. I guess someone who's paralyzed or something, I think. Jesus stepped into a boat, crossed over, and came to his own town. Some men brought him to a paralytic laying on the mat. When Jesus saw their faith, he said to the paralytic, "Take heart, son, your sins are forgiven." At this, some of the teachers of the law said to themselves, "This fellow blaspheming, knowing their thoughts. Jesus said, "Why do you entertain evil thoughts in your hearts? Which is easier, to say your sins are forgiven, or to say get up and walk? But so that you may know that the Son of Man has authority on earth to forgive sins." Then he said to the paralytic, "Get up, take your mat and go home." And the man got up and went home. When the crowd saw this, they were filled with awe, and they praised God who had given such authority to men. The calling of Matthew. As Jesus went on from there, he saw a man named Matthew sitting at the tax collector's booth. "Follow me," he told him, and Matthew got up and followed him. While Jesus was having dinner at Matthew's house, many tax collectors and sinners came and ate with him and his disciples. When the Pharisees saw this and asked his disciples, "Why does your teacher eat with tax collectors and sinners?" On hearing this, Jesus said, "It is not the healthy who need a doctor, but the sick. But go and learn what this means. I desire mercy, not sacrifice, for I have not come to call the righteous, but sinners." Jesus' question about fasting. Then John's disciples came and asked him, "How is it that we and the Pharisees fast, but your disciples do not fast?" Jesus answered, "How can the guests of bridegroom mourn while he is with them? The time will come when the bridegroom will be taken from them. Then they will fast. No one sews a patch of unshrunk cloth on an old garment, for the patch will pull away from the garment, making the tear worse. Neither do men pour new wine into old wineskins. If they do, the skins will burst, the wine will run out, and the wineskins will be ruined. No, they pour new wine into new wineskins, and both are preserved." A dead girl and a sick woman. While he was saying this, a ruler came and knelt before him and said, "My daughter has just died, but come and put your hand on her, and she will live." Jesus got up and went with him. So did his disciples. Just then, a woman who had been subject to bleeding for 12 years came up from behind him and touched the edge of his cloak. She said to herself, "If I only touch his cloak, I will be healed." Jesus turned and saw her. "Take heart, daughter," he said. "Your faith has healed you." And the woman was healed from that moment. Okay, this is gonna be the last page that's gonna be the last page I read. So later on today, I will read this. Okay? Okay. Gotta find out where I was before. Just want to see how many pages we read, just so I can tell y'all. Okay, so we read I'm just counting the full pages. We read 1, 2, 3, 4 full pages. What? No, not 4. We did not read 4 pages. Okay, hold on now. Hold on now. 1, 2, 3. Oh wait, no, hold on. One more page. We'll read one more page. I accidentally skipped a page because the pages are so thin. I accidentally skipped a page. So last page, which is page 1510, 1510. Yeah. When Jesus entered the ruler's house and saw the flute players and the noisy crowd, he said, "Go away. The girl is not dead, but asleep." They laughed at him. After the crowd had been put outside, he went in and took the girl by the hand, and she got up. News of this spread through all that region. Jesus heals the blind and the mute, so people who can't see and people who can't talk. It says, as Jesus went on from there, 2 blind men followed him, calling out, "Have mercy of us, son of David." When he had gone indoors, the blind men came to him and asked him, "Do you believe that I am able to do this?" "Yes, Lord," they replied. Then he touched their eyes and said, "According to your faith it will be done to you." And their sight was restored. Jesus warned them sternly, "See that no one knows about this." But they went out and spread the news about him all over that region. While they were going out, a man who was demon-possessed and could not talk was brought to Jesus. And when their demon was driven out, the man who had been mute spoke. The crowd was amazed and said, "Nothing like this has ever been seen in Israel." But the Pharisees said, "It is by the prince of demons that he drives out the demons. The workers are few." Jesus went through all the towns and villages, teaching in their synagogues, preaching the good news of the kingdom, and healing every disease and sickness. When he saw the crowds, he had compassion on them, because they were harassed and helpless, like sheep without a shepherd. Then he said to his disciples, "The harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. Ask the Lord of the harvest, therefore, to send out workers into his harvest field." Okay, we're going to continue reading tomorrow. No, not tomorrow. Later on today. Before bed. Okay, see y'all later.